This is the place where we have musicians, celebrities, and other interesting folks teaching you their favorite sustainable recipes live from their own kitchens. I'm Adam Gardner. I play in the band Guster, and I'm also the co-founder of the nonprofit environmental organization REVERB. REVERB's normally on the road right now with bands like Dave Matthews Band and Billie Eilish and the Lumineers and Tame Impala and a bunch of other folks. But obviously that all came to a screeching halt. And so instead, we thought we'd bring a little bit of reverb to you into your own homes. So the way this show works is we'll bring on our guest chef. It's a different person each week. This week, I'm pleased to say it's KT Tunstall, dear friend. We'll go into that in a little bit. But you'll also be able to, I see you're already commenting, which is great. So we will pay attention to your comments. We'll answer your questions as we go along, and we'll probably even reserve some time to do that. So why don't we just get right into this show? KT, this is our 5th episode. KT's a dear friend. I've known her for quite a while. We actually first met when my band Guster and KT were doing radio shows in the late 90s together. But we didn't really get to know each other until we played in a weirdo ski band together with Stefan Lessard and Dave Matthews Band called Yukon Cornelius. We've also traveled to the rainforest together. We've done a bunch of environmental work together through our work with REVERB. Please, I'd love to welcome KT Tunstall. If there was an applause, I would hit an applause button, but I'll just do this instead. KT, welcome to REVERB's Quarantine Kitchen.
Yes. What is up, Adam? So nice to see you.
You too. How are you doing these days?
I'm doing really good. Oh, look, my cupboard's open.
Yep, that's the beauty of this whole deal.
Terrible. What a mess. It's, it's definitely been a very bizarre occurrence to kind of suddenly have our job stopped. But the silver lining for me is that I'm always complaining that I don't have enough time at home and that I wanted a dog. And now I'm at home and I've got a dog. So I'm just sort of savoring, pardon the pun, every minute of having time at home and looking forward to when all this we can get back out there and share rooms with people.
Definitely. It's, and so for you, this isn't new for you. In fact, when we were coming up with this idea, we were trying to figure out, okay, what can we do during this time while we're not on tour? We saw KT's kitchen. We was like, well, that's really cool. And we fully ripped you off.
Yeah, so I started cooking on tour because I was doing a big band tour, which, as you know, is horrendously expensive, all your expenses. Yeah. And we were thinking about doing what is called catering, where you have a wonderful person who comes on tour with you and cooks for everybody. And my tour manager said, well, yeah, we could do that. It's going to be 15 grand. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a little cooker that I can take with me and make my own food. And that cooker is now called Jumbo Stovey and comes on tour with me because I really like to eat healthily on tour. So I've just started making my own food and it turned into Katie's Kitchen. And it's wonderful that you're doing it. I sadly don't have my Katie's Kitchen apron, but Adam, representing. Can we just take a moment? Woo! I mean, before we started this, Adam did also mention that he can do quite a good Jurassic Park impression with that.
What's that thing? It's like, oh, look at the cute little. It's like this little lobster.
Is that like genuinely Lauren's apron?
Oh, cute. Let's pet it. So, yeah, I mean, in fact, one of the first times Guster and you played together, not during the 90s radio stuff, a few years ago, I think we were in the Minneapolis Zoo. And
yes, that was an amazing show. I was opening up for you guys. It was an amazing show.
Well, you and Brian sang a ridiculous. So Brian, our drummer, who does not sing, is actually very good at singing horribly. You guys did an incredible duet.
Super talented. What did we sing again? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was I think it was.
Was it Adele?
Adele. And of course, you crushed it, and Brian destroyed it horribly.
Yeah, he burnt it alive. It was amazing.
Oh yeah, I've seen it on YouTube somewhere.
So I'm really excited today for a few reasons. First of all, because I'm sharing one of my favorite recipes that I could probably live on this for the rest of my life, and it's extremely healthy, low carb, which is a diet that I like to follow. and means that you get your vegetables, but also we're using some cool gadgets.
All right. Should we get into it? We should maybe just start.
So first of all,
I'll ask you certain questions as well.
Yeah. So we're making zingy zucchini noodles with chili and lemon. What I didn't say in the headline, because I know it might turn some people off, is we're using anchovies. Now, I know that I think all the recipes so far have been vegetarian. It's about sustainable food. So choose well when you're buying your anchovies. You've got the info, Adam, about that.
Yeah, you can check our website. It's seafood.edf.org, and they can kind of guide you through what fish is good to choose.
So I have some anchovy fillets here in a little jar, and it's got Friend of the Sea on them, and it's got Non-GMO Project, and it's telling you that it's, not awful. Yes, something with a face has died, but it hasn't died in at the expense of lots of other things as well. So there's hardly any ingredients. You need a zucchini, some anchovies, some chili flakes, some salted grass-fed butter, preferably, a spiralizer, a lemon zester,
Ooh.
and a lemon. And that's it, and a bit of olive oil. So the funny thing that I want to start with is that this is a brand new spiralizer, and I haven't used it yet.
All right.
So
doing it live.
This is potentially disastrous. Right.
Well, we have tangy zucchini.
So hi everyone, how are you all? Can we just have some sort of vote here? Which color is going to give me noodles? Because one of them gives you kind of like linguine. One of them gives you, right, it's not that one. That one can leave. I think we go green.
That's appropriate considering the context of all this.
So to use a spiralizer, this is what I know. Knife. Chop off not a massive chunk, but, a decent chunk. So then you put it inside the spiralizer, and there's some really, really hardcore spikes in there that you don't want to get involved with.
Right.
And you press it down, and then this lid has the spikes on. You should really have it straight, but I don't care. Press the spikes in, and then you just do this.
Oh, Play-Doh Fun Factory.
Hang on. You've got to maintain the pressure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, get that close. That's awesome. That's a video in and of itself right there.
Oh, my God. Hang on a minute. Let's get its bottom straight.
Insert butt joke here.
Yeah, everybody wants a nice straight bottom. No, they don't. That's not true. You can have whatever kind of bottom you want. But that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks great.
Quite pro.
Honestly, that in and of itself, I could watch that for minutes and minutes.
Basically, pretty pleased with that. So when I'm doing this, I would usually play. Well, if you go to the Spotify playlist, "Spinning Around" by Kylie, great tune.
Okay. So there's the Spotify link. I think if you go to, it might be connected to this Facebook post right now, and if not, you can go to rave.org.
So that's a pretty good amount of noodles there. You can see actually. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's great.
So just I'm going to make a small batch, but you can make as much of this as you want. So you're also left with this weird sort of shaped bit, and I always just chop it up and stick it in there as well, just so that you're not wasting any of the courgette. Called in Europe. Okay, so those are those bits in here. So what we want to do is fire up what do you call it? We call it a hob, but you don't call it a hob.
No.
This in the UK is called a hob.
A stove?
Yes.
A hob?
The actual hot plate is called a hob, which is why I've got a single hot plate that I use on the tour bus, and that's called Hob Marley. So we're going to fire this up. So kind of a medium heat, massive frying pan is good. So what we're going to do now, we were laughing earlier because I do Katie's Kitchen, I pretend that I'm a chef, obviously. And one thing that chefs always have is a beautiful little nestle nestled glass dishes. And then they put the stuff in the dishes and there's just more washing up.
Yeah, but it looks nice.
But because this is professional, we're going to use some of my nestling glass and my Russian doll dishes.
You were taking this to the next level, KT.
Instead of just putting the butter straight in the pan, which is what I would always do, we're going to put it in a dish and then put it in the pan. Because that's how you do it properly, apparently.
Apparently.
So I like Kerrygold butter because it's grass-fed. So there we go, cut that. Extra washing up, but a lovely dish of salted butter. And pan's getting warm. So just put your butter, that's it.
Boom. And now you have to wash that dish.
Wash that up. Really stupid. Spatula. Do you call it a spatula?
We call it a spatula.
Good. I mean, I feel like also I should have some sort of hairnet. This is totally
You're feeding yourself. It's okay. You're not feeding.
My kitchen.
It's your kitchen. We're in your house.
So so I follow a keto diet, which means that I have very high fats and almost no carbs. So which is great because you can eat lots of butter, which
there you go.
It's just amazing. So what we're going to do is melt the butter in the pan. And then while that's melting, open up your anchovies. Don't be frightened, right? I don't really like anchovies, but using them as a flavor base has completely blown my mind because it doesn't make the dish taste fishy. It just gives it incredible flavor once you've cooked it. And what we're going to do is going to add these to the butter, and they just completely melt into a paste.
Oh, interesting. So does it add is it kind of like a salt or?
Salty, but just incredibly flavorsome. So like packs a punch. So if you made this recipe without the anchovies, you would want to be using some sort of vegetable stock instead, but just something that's, or maybe like, what could you use vegetarian instead?
I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if we can go to the, we'll go to the fans here and see what they're
saying. I just realized I need my garlic. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I've cheated. So I was meant to buy some garlic and I forgot, but I've got a cheap garlic and it's been pre-chopped. I hate chopping garlic. It's so.
Oh, really? For me, it's the onions. Garlic's fine, but the onions.
Oh, it really annoys me. I did find a good trick though, that if you put garlic in a glass with some water and then you shake it like you're trying to kill it, all the skin comes off.
Oh, all right.
Right, so I'm gonna chop your garlic, take ages, make your hands stink, and probably a couple of cloves, 2 or 3 cloves, depending on how much you like. Stick it in with the butter. Garlic goes in first. Yummy. Smells incredible. I mean, imagine the person who discovered garlic. Be like, oh my God, all my bland nettle and weed soup tastes so good now.
Imagine all the things they ate before all the other people that tried to discover garlic and didn't survive. That's what I think about.
They ate the wrong things first. All right, so I'm going to turn the heat down a bit because I don't want it burning. So I'm going to turn it down to low. Now I'm going to open the anchovies. Oh, stinking.
Wait, you didn't sell that. That sounded bad. Was that a good year?
Bad. No, it stinks. I need to get a little fork. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it with my fingers.
Wait, you're saying don't be afraid of it. And now you're saying
how something that smells so horrible can become so tasty. Just whatever you do not get any of it on your hands. It's foul. Right.
You are not selling this right now.
I'm telling you.
Anchovies.
It transforms.
Okay. All right. So that's what you put it in.
Like, depending on your taste, like I like putting in more. So I mean, maybe 3. I'm just going to do all of it. It's only a wee jar.
And I love in the recipe that you sent over, this is another, I think, dialect difference is that the butter is called a large knob of butter.
What would you say?
A large amount of butter? I don't know. I don't know. Not knob. I've been called a knob before, and I'm pretty sure that's an insult.
I just went to the men's bathroom and there was a man with a very large amount.
Yes.
Right. So you add the anchovies to the butter and just keep stirring that. And it's amazing. They completely melt. And they basically form a sauce. I'll show you the pan in a second. I'll just melt it down a wee bit more. But
for those of you who are watching right now, just in case you're coming in late to this, you're watching Reverb's Quarantine Kitchen. This is KT Tunstall doing the cooking as our guest chef. I'm Adam Gardner from the band Guster and co-founder of the organization REVERB. I'm normally on tour right now. Oh, here comes nice. So that's the anchovy and knob of butter.
Turned into a paste and a kind of oily. It's almost like a dressing. It's like a hot dressing.
Looks great.
So that's that done. So now what we want to do is add all of our noodles straight into that. I'm going to turn the heat up again.
So what was that when you were melting the butter? What level of heat were you at there?
I'd gone down to medium because if your butter starts bubbling, you really don't want to burn it. It's going to change the flavor of it. So just make sure it's just kind of sizzling away, but it's not starting to bubble and burn because you'll change the flavor.
Gotcha.
So just really like coat the zucchini noodles. So what I used to do with the zucchini noodles is I used to boil them before putting them in, and you don't need to, and it makes them really soggy. There's no
right. Need. I imagine you still want a little bit of like al dente.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
It is the generation before us that would boil vegetables beyond recognition. Yeah. We no longer do that.
No, I grew up hating Brussels sprouts, and now I love them. And I thought it was because of my age, but it's not. It's just because my mom didn't cook them well.
Also, I'm not a vegetarian, so it's also because bacon.
Well, that helps.
Right, so we're going to but there's great flavor alternatives for veggies. Going to put a lid on that, just to let those noodles start to get a little softer.
All right.
I'm going to turn it on to low again because we're going to do something else, aren't we, while we're waiting for those to do their thing.
Do you want? Yeah, well, there's all sorts of things we can do.
Okay.
To maybe
first of all, I think we should have a drink.
Oh, I love that.
And we were talking about the fact that we both have. It's one of my quarantine online purchases. Nice.
Yeah, for me, I've had this for quite a while.
Show everyone.
I'm going to reveal first. Okay, I wasn't sure. So this is a Soda Stream.
Yeah.
And I love this thing. I've had this for a while. I bet you yours looks a little bit nicer than mine because mine
is vintage. Right there.
Oh yeah. Yep, you can kind of see it.
But we're gonna go and use it in a minute. And obviously, it just suddenly you're cutting down completely on all of your plastic and glass bottles that you're using.
That's right.
And I think, it's not expensive. Like one of the cartridges makes like 1 million liters.
I'm sure it probably saves you money versus going out and buying seltzer or soda. This is cheaper for sure.
Yeah, and I got the little kind of essence unsweetened, like lime and grapefruit and peach flavor. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And so we thought we'd make a little cocktail. So are you ready to serve?
I'm ready to.
And if you're on the playlist, this is Push It by Salt and Pepper.
I thought we were gonna make a little. Oh, we're gonna do it.
Okay.
We're gonna make some noise with this. Oh boy.
Locked and loaded.
I'm locked and loaded, I think.
3, 2, 1, go!
That's the pleasant noise of sustainable soda. My kids love it. They're like, make me some fart juice, Daddy.
It's quite funny, isn't it? Because the sound of that really reminds me of dry ice machines when you're doing gigs.
Totally. But it looks great. It definitely.
I know.
Well,
which setting do you use? Do you use 1, 2, or 3 bubbles?
You have a fancier machine than I do. Mine's just you just press the button and you have to do it manually.
I use middle bubbles. So I went to my local little canyon store, which is beautiful here in Topanga in LA, and they're selling fresh veg, and I really fancied buying some tequila. I don't drink that much, but I am trying to savor every minute of this lockdown actually feeling like a holiday, because I don't get holidays very often. So I thought I would treat myself, because I love tequila soda and lime is probably my favorite drink. So I went and bought some of this, which is Casamigos, which is great.
Yeah.
We found out it was like Randy Gerber and George Clooney.
Yeah.
And then they sold it off and sailed off into the sunset on Lake Como. So we're going to try a little funky cocktail. So I've got my glass here. I'm going to have a little bit of tequila. And
we put that on a rider. Like we have that every night on tour. Like that we asked for that in our hospitality. Oh yeah, that one.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's the
one.
I
didn't know what I was doing. I chose it because it had a nice bottle.
No, I love it.
A bit of soda. And what we're going to do today, which is very exciting, is I thought we would try, just to give it a little health kick, a bit of kombucha in it.
Why not?
I love, have you ever tried shrubs, where you put apple cider vinegar in with some fruit juice and soda?
Oh, yeah.
Really good. And apparently shrubs were kind of invented, I think, on ships, because they were having to preserve the fruit in vinegar. And maybe it was just an old school thing anyway, where they had, they didn't have refrigeration. So they would preserve the fruit in vinegar, and then they would drink that. So it was kind of this vinegar fruit drink, which is actually really good probiotically as well, because of the vinegar. Cheers. What should we call it, everyone? What should we call it? The tequila kombucha.
Tequila bucha?
Huh?
Tequila bucha. It's not great. It's not great.
No. No, I don't know. We're going to have to think about it. I think it's going to be a completely separate name. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, everyone who's watching now too. Thanks, KT, for doing this.
That's really good. So,
I'll have to try that at home.
Final touches. Right now. How long have we got, Adam?
Well, we'd like to keep this to about half an hour to 45 minutes, but I do want to talk about some things with you too.
It's really good.
Yeah. Let's talk about music for a second, because I'm curious about some things.
I'm going to zest my lemon while we're talking.
Yeah, that's great. That would be great. If you
the lemon zester I've tried doing with a knife, nightmare.
No, you got to use the zester. It's all about that. So that's just the peel you're zesting there. You're not
just the peel, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So while you're doing that, I'm going to try to ask you questions and see if we can do two things at once. You've been doing these rave sessions during the How did that happen? Like, how did that come about? I love them. It's great.
So when I first went into lockdown, I'm in a new house, and my house wasn't quite ready to move into. It was about 3 weeks away from being ready when I got back to LA, because I was on tour with Jules Holland in Europe. And I got back here, and I was meant to be staying with friends of mine for 2 nights before I went on tour to Hawaii for the first time. And of course, that didn't happen. And I ended up living with my friends for a month.
Oh, wow.
Which was crazy. And one thing that we did do, because they had 2 teenage kids, they were doing online schooling. And they would have a break at lunchtime. And we decided, just to sort of give them a bit of a blow off steam, that we would each pick a dance tune every lunchtime and have a rave. And then we got our friends in the UK involved, and they started doing it with us as well. And then, it kind of petered out with the kids. We stopped doing it. But I was just like, this is really good. And I will freely admit, I was having some really complex feelings about online music when this first happened.
Sure.
Because, I'm good. I've got 2 big hits. I make money from it. I'm doing well. I'm ambitious. I'm building a studio in the basement right now. My friend sent me this amazing candle with an Oscar Wilde quote on it. It said, people who live within their means haven't got enough imagination. And that's definitely me right now. I'm pushing the boat out just to try and kind of, build a really exciting future. And, but basically I realized I didn't really want to just get my guitar out and play. And apart from anything else, a lot of the time it just sounded awful.
Right.
On Instagram or on YouTube or whatever. The sound was really terrible, and I found that quite depressing. But But what I did want to do was dance. And I love rave music. I used to go clubbing all the time in the 90s. And so I just decided I would do dance parties and I would DJ. And this summer actually was meant to be my first big festival DJ set. I was DJing at Glastonbury.
Nice.
And of course it got cancelled.
Yeah.
But it was all sort of felt part and parcel of the same thing. So I just started DJing. I'm sure not all of my fans enjoy it because they're not all into it. But the ones that are into it are bang into it. You guys, you're amazing. Absolutely amazing. They're all on here. Joe, Kerry, Bill.
You recognize them. That's amazing.
They're all Katie Raver, the rave fan.
That's
and now we've started having guest DJs. We've had Melanie C, Sporty Spice. We have Maggie Rogers.
Amazing.
I'm hoping Peaches is gonna do one. So it's also been a really nice way to connect with other musicians, find out what their kind of favorite dance tracks are, and engage with them.
That's so cool. And it's also a nice way to get everybody moving so they're not just sitting around in their houses all day.
Honestly, it's basically a really fun, ridiculous aerobics class.
That's so cool. So you mentioned building a studio.
When you finish doing your lemon rind, then you put the juice in your drink.
Oh, there you go. You put it in your. So someone was saying like tequila.
Tequila.
That sounds fun. Sounds fun to say.
I love it. So it's. Hang on, I'm just going to give these a stir.
Yeah. Oh God, don't ruin the recipe.
It smells so good.
So you're building a studio in your basement?
Finish this up.
Yeah, I mean, if we're close, we can finish it up and we can talk a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's finish it up and have a chat. So Great. Get your lemon rind. It should be a whole lemon. I love it really, really lemony. Into the pan. This is the kind of last finishing touches stuff. And then red chili flakes, which looks great. You can use chili oil as well. But from a color point of view, you've got yellow lemon zest and then you've got the red chili flakes. It's beautiful. So I'm going to and that's it. I'm going to grab a plate, move all this stuff out of the way. Hang on a sec. And then you've got to try and not get all the dribbles, haven't you? Present it nicely. So let's see if I can manage that. Hang on. Come on, Katie.
You can do it. I have faith in you.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. I have to put all the lovely sauce on top of it because it's just, I literally lick my plate with this dish.
This is the way that you've got it right now. It's like hiding just beneath the view of the camera. So when you're ready to do the big reveal, you can bring. Are you ready? We are. Let's do this. Oh, that looks gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Can you bring it even closer?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish I could taste. Oh, that looks amazing.
It's beautiful and it's just so tasty. And, if you are a fish eater, it's absolutely full of those omega oils. And, anchovies are an extremely healthy fish to eat. Shall I try some?
Please. This is how we
oh my God, it's just dripping in butter. So good. The lemon zest is an amazing, the lemon zest and the salt together. So good.
Yeah. The guttural moan.
Now, it could be disgusting and you have no idea, and I'm just a really good actress. But it's great. I put a lot of anchovies in it and it's really, really tasty, actually.
That is awesome. Oh, Stefan Lasartes. Hey, he was on episode 2. What's up, Stefan? Yeah, I mean, I've tried actually all the recipes so far, and they've been really good. I can't wait to try yours.
You're a vegetarian, right?
I try to eat vegetarian, but no, I'm not a strict vegetarian. But I try to eat.
So you could maybe make an exception for anchovies.
Yeah, I think so. Although if I want to serve it to the rest of my family, we might have to figure out. Anchovies.
We say anchovies.
Anchovies. Yeah, we say it right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a lot of things, but. As far as the environmental stuff goes, for those, again, tuning in just now, REVERB's an environmental nonprofit. KT and Stefano just chimed in to say, hey, actually came with us to the Peruvian Amazon as part of our illegal logging campaign.
Amazing time.
I had such a good time too. It was so powerful and impactful, and hopefully we actually helped folks there who they're indigenous living in the rainforest who are on the front lines of protecting these ancient forests that absorb all of this carbon and all the crap we put into the air. It's so important for them to help with that, with climate change. But I want to come back to Peru because I want to talk about the food there, which was unbelievable, both in Lima and deep into the rainforest.
Oh man, we had the most incredible experience with food in the jungle.
I agree with you. I want to come back to that though, because I don't want to. I want to ask a little bit more of a serious question, and then go to the food and fun. You've been known as an environmental musician for a long time now. What do you feel like musicians' roles are within the environmental world, as far as basically helping us all save ourselves from ourselves?
It's really difficult, and I think one of the most difficult parts of it is that there's a real lack of understanding, I think, and a lack of I think I could probably go as far as to say compassion from the public when it comes to musicians, because just because we're criticizing the system, it doesn't mean that you can't still exist in it. So when we're trying to do something about environmental issues and they're going, oh, you still get on a plane, it's like, because there isn't another option for us. If there was a green plane, we'd be on it, but there isn't a green plane. So in the meantime, we have to just take the best scientific advice we can. I did the same thing trying to use biofuel with buses, and it turned out it wasn't a great thing to do because it was really promoting monoculture planting, and actually was destructive to a lot of environmental areas, because they were planting palm for palm.
Yeah, it depends on the fuel, but yeah, it can do that. There's sustainable biofuel options.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But there, I think the point being, it's a constant learning process, and that just because you're doing what you can, it doesn't mean that you don't have to live in a shack and never leave and eat your own vegetables to still be someone who cares about the environment. And so I found myself stepping back for a while because I was getting quite a lot of heat for not being completely militant about it. And so now I just realize that actually it's more about my own personal choices. Mm-hmm. I've just recently decided to completely change my skincare to an amazing company called Majo Medicine. And it's made in Scotland. It's completely organic. They're very careful about their packaging. There's no nasty stuff in it. It's just like, what are you putting on your skin? What are you wearing? I don't want to buy any new clothes this year. I want to get a sewing machine actually, and learn how to tailor old stuff into new stuff. And I've realized too, I think over the years, that it's really not very effective telling people what to do.
Right. It's not all or nothing. I think people are finally realizing that, and I think that's definitely been REVERB's approach to all this with the artists.
You guys, I want to say thank you so much to you guys for being there for us, because you can actually kind of pick it up and take care of a lot of that stuff for us as musicians, and any musicians who are interested in greening what they're doing to the furthest extent. Then you're the people to go to, because you can make it much easier, and that's really important too. Is busy people don't have a lot of time, Yeah,
that was a large part of, at least from my perspective, why we started REVERB, was to help artists, because we could to be more green on tour, because we could see that there was a desire, but there was a disconnect between what they wanted and what was happening.
I wanted to ask you, Adam, how do you manage both to be in a band and run REVERB? Because I would find that really hard.
We have a great team. It's not just, I'm not alone at REVERB. There's 10 of us full time, and then there's equally as many people that we put out onto tours to help those tours be more great and engage all their fans to take action for the environment and a number of issues.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much to everyone on the REVERB team. I met many of them, or some of them, on the Bare Naked Ladies tour, and that was
awesome.
Awesome.
That's right. I forgot. That's right. That's right. You were part of that. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's also that whole like responsibility versus opportunity, and it's not all or nothing. So as musicians, we have the ability to be enthusiasts. We don't have to be experts, but obviously we want to know our stuff. But you don't have to know everything. You can point to the people who do and say, "Hey, listen to what they're saying. Here's what the scientists are saying." I mean, we have the United Nations Secretary General say recently he announced that there's a bigger threat than COVID-19 right now, and it's climate change.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see if we take the sacrifices and the lessons we're learning for doing what we're doing right now to protect each other, and seeing if they'll apply to climate change.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's going to be some pretty incredible data collected after this has happened because of the lockdown. And we're already seeing stuff that's going viral about animals coming back into cities. And I'm sure because of it, you'll be able to see a somewhat realistic map of how quickly things would recover if they were just left alone.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's going to be amazing. Actually, is it's been really difficult to persuade people to say, well, don't do that because it's bad. And they're like, well, it's not going to repair itself anyway. This is the way it is. And it's just like, well, if you leave something alone for a month, it might really change. And it might be really to your benefit where you live.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Hey, you mentioned something going back to COVID, that you recorded a new song.
Yes. I'm just making sure I turn the gas off. Yes, the gas is off. So I have to say, I have felt the least creative I felt maybe ever during this time. I have not felt like writing. I haven't felt like playing. All I felt like doing is dancing to 90s club classics. That's pretty much it. But I did spend a couple of days just writing on my laptop. I wanted to write something that was along the lines of the Katie raves, that was really upbeat and fun about what we're going to have to do after this thing starts easing up, right? Because we're going to have to keep this stuff up. We're probably going to have to keep washing our hands, keep not touching our faces. I mean, I saw an amazing video by a doctor who said, basically, if you don't touch your face, you reduce your likelihood of getting it by a huge amount. Keeping our distance a bit more, but also checking in on each other. Like, call each other, call your friends, call your family, like say hi, hear a voice. Don't just do text messages. I think I heard as well that phone calls have gone up. Like, it sounds obvious, but it's good. It's good that we're talking to one another. And so I wrote this song. It's a total banger. And it's dropping on May 22nd. Is that right? Let me check.
Tell me.
I'll tell you. Yes. Friday, right. May the 22nd. Okay. It's called Wash Your Hands, YA, Wash Your Hands. And it's dropping Friday, May 22nd with a lyric video. And that's just the beginning of it. So I've done this once before. It's called KT Collaboration. And that's for you guys to learn the song. I then want people to film a 20-second clip of themselves in the shower, in the bath, in their underpants, dressed up in an incredible cooking apron, doing Jurassic Park impressions, singing along. And there'll be an email address for you to send your video to. And then on 12th of June, a couple of weeks later, we will drop a video of everyone from all over the world contributing and being part of this music video, and all the proceeds from the song are going to go to War Child UK and Water Aid.
Awesome.
You're doing amazing work.
Well, thanks, Katie.
Yes, it's called Wash Your Hands. Please check it out. Friday 22nd. Get ready. It's going to drop. It's going to blow your mind.
I will wear an apron and I will dance and I will try.
Can I have a pledge from you, Adam, that you will wear the apron and nothing else?
Sure.
You can film just from the front.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be sitting in the same chair right here.
Just do an amount of filming.
An amount. Well, thanks, KT, for joining us for this edition of
Pleasure. It's an incredibly simple recipe, and it's one of the most delicious meals I make, and it's incredibly good for you. So, and I think I want to say this as well, and it's a bit of an annoying thing to say, but it really hasn't been talked about very much. And I think that what you're doing here is really great, because one thing that we can really do to help is look after our immune system and look after our health, and really take some responsibility ourselves to just keep a bit healthier, and you're less likely to get it. And with that, cheers!
Cheers! Yeah. Also, for those of you who want to actually check out the recipe and watch this video, if you came in late to it, or share it with friends, you can go to reverb.org/quarantine kitchen. All the episodes are there. This is the 5th episode. We have 4 other ones that all have delicious recipes too. Thanks again to KT Tunstall for joining.
Thank you for everything you do, Adam, and the Reverb team. And so much love to all the fans, and love to you, Stefan. Miss you. Sending much love to everyone out there. Get cooking, enjoy being in the kitchen, and make yourself some good food.
That's right. Thanks. Good night, everybody. Take care. Be safe.